I married my wife after knowing her for just a week on a dating app, but she passed away unexpectedly. While sorting through her belongings, I stumbled upon a photo album. It was filled with pictures of us together from high school prom to our wedding day. The photos were old and yellowed, the handwritten notes on the back faded. What a pity, Leo, we're going to miss each other again. Yet we had only known each other for half a month until I opened my eyes again and saw her from the past. When at the age of 29, I married a woman I'd known for just a week on a dating app. Her name was Chloe. She had a red mole at the corner of her eye, quiet and fair-skinned. Strange as it was, the first thing she said to me was, "We meet again, Mr. Miller." I asked in surprise, "Have we met before?" Chloe lowered her lashes, her smile soft and gentle. "From now on, we'll be seeing each other often." Completely baffled, I forced a chuckle. Miss Chloe seems to have taken quite a liking to me. The memories of our later conversations have grown hazy, nothing more than exchanges of personal information. 7 days later, we had a whirlwind marriage. Another 7 days after that, Chloe was struck by an out-of-control car and died instantly. All surveillance cameras were malfunctioning. The perpetrator left no trace. Even the car vanished like a ghost. Only the bloodstains at the scene bore witness to what had transpired. 7 more days passed, and I received an astronomical compensation from the insurance company. The beneficiary was listed as my name alone. Moreover, I was horrified to discover, apart from this one, Chloe had purchased various other types of insurance. It was as if she had foreseen that death would come for her this year. In just one short month, I had gone through online dating, marriage, and widowhood. Chloe left behind very few belongings. When she first moved into the new home, she only brought a 20-inch suitcase. That was all her worldly possessions. A few sunflowers leaned diagonally in the vase on the nightstand. Past their blooming season, all the golden, delicate petals had already withered away. The thick photo album sat beside the vase. On its cover was our wedding photo taken not long ago. Chloe, dressed in a pure white wedding gown, held my arm with a radiant smile. I casually flipped through a few more pages, but my gaze suddenly froze. Every page was filled with photos of Chloe and me together. A more youthful Chloe and a much younger version of myself. One, then another, and the last one, we were both dressed in our high school prom attire. I stared at the young couple intimately leaning against each other, completely baffled. I had no memory of these photos whatsoever, and I was certain I'd never known Chloe before we met on that dating app. The photo album in my hands suddenly felt scorching. I recalled every moment we shared together. I finally realized something was off. We had known each other for less than a month. Chloe knew everything about me, from major relationships down to the smallest daily habits. In my days, something fell out of the photo album, clinking as it rolled far away. Looking down, I froze again. Before the wedding, I had ordered a pair of wedding rings. There was a mistake. When it was delivered, the velvet box contained only a woman's ring. And now I stared at the man's ring. Why was it here? For the moment I put on the ring, a blinding white light nearly seared my eyes. When I opened my eyes again, I was sitting in a noisy bar. Leo, bottoms up, the chubby Mike across from me, drunkenly raised his beer glass and clinked it against mine. I stared at that face and tentatively spoke. Mike. He looked up blearily. What I was completely stunned. Mike had been my friend since childhood. A few years ago, he passed away from illness. I kept my composure. Nothing much. What's the date now? Mike's eyes widened with amusement. Leo, you must be drunk out of your mind today. He reached out playfully to feel my forehead. Forgot it's New Year's Eve 2018. I had traveled back 7 years in time. A light rain began to fall through the night sky. I gazed at the endless curtain of rain, and a thought stirred in my heart. Chloe had once told me about it. One New Year's Eve, she had a particularly miserable time. Her company called for sudden overtime, and she didn't even get to eat dinner. On her way home at night, halfway there, it started pouring rain. She took a fall and sprained her ankle. To make matters worse, the streetlights on that essential route home were broken, and she was followed by a creep. What happened next? Did you shake him off and get home safely? That's what I asked at the time. Chloe lowered her head and smiled faintly. She said, thankfully someone saved me in the end. Boom, the night rain poured down. Mike was still swaying drunkenly as he drank. I gazed at the heavy rain outside the bar and suddenly felt deeply worried. For following my memory, I found the alley where Chloe used to live. The streetlight was broken from the entrance to the end of the alley. It was pitch black. Just as Chloe had described it back then, my heart sank. 5 minutes later, I met Chloe, completely drenched from the rain, with water dripping from the hem of her clothes. This was Chloe at 22, 7 years ago, fresh out of university and just stepping into the workforce. Though dressed in professional attire, the youthful innocence hadn't yet faded from her face. She was running in the rain when suddenly her feet slipped and she fell to the ground in an undignified heap. A few seconds later, a man in black caught up from behind her. Without a word, the man grabbed her wrist and tried to drag her into the dark alley. My heart clenched. Didn't Chloe say someone would come to save her? Why wasn't that person here yet? Action came faster than thought. By the time I regained awareness, my fist had already struck the black-clad man's eye socket. Who the hell are you? He tilted his head and spat out a bloody glob of saliva, drunkenly cursing. Daring to ruin my fun, I grabbed his greasy hair and delivered another punch straight to his nose bridge. "Watch your damn mouth," the man in black sobered up slightly. He scrambled to his feet, pointing at me with venomous intent. "Who exactly are you?" I helped Chloe up without looking up. Just a kind passerby pressed on Chloe's swollen ankle. "Where do you live? Can you still walk?" She stared at me, blankly asking in a hoarse voice. "Don't you recognize me?" Logically speaking at this point in time, she shouldn't know me. So I shook my head. "Do you need me to take you home?" "Here's my driver's license. If you don't trust me, you can call the police." "No need." Chloe staggered to her feet, steadying herself against my arm. "I believe you," she said. Perhaps it was because she'd been caught in the rain and frightened. As soon as we got home, Chloe developed a high fever. Should we call your parents or friends to take care of you?" The moment I said it, I regretted it because I suddenly remembered what Chloe had told me. Her mother had passed away early. Her father was an alcoholic who abused her, and her stepmother treated her harshly. She didn't really have any friends either. She had always been all alone. Chloe indeed refused. "It's all right, no need to trouble yourself." Chloe took fever-reducing medicine and became drowsy. I turned off the light and prepared to go downstairs. Her lips were pale, drained of color, yet she still managed to curve them into a faint smile. "Speaking of which, I should thank you. If it weren't for you, I really wouldn't have known what to do." She blinked her eyes and suddenly reached out her hand to me. "Nice to meet you, I'm Chloe." I waved my hand. "No need to be so formal, Miss Chloe." It was nothing really. I had originally intended to just walk away. But as I reached the ground floor, I suddenly remembered that Chloe hadn't eaten yet because she was working overtime. Tonight is New Year's Eve. The rain has stopped. Water droplets accumulated on the eaves drip down one by one, making the night feel even colder and lonelier. Carrying takeout from the fast food restaurant, I rang the doorbell again. No one answered. I waited a while, then pressed the bell once more. This time the response came quickly. Coming. Chloe came barefoot to answer the door, looking like she'd just woken up. Through the security door, her eyes widened. "Hush," she giggled foolishly. "It's you." Before I could answer, Chloe had already opened the door. "Why are you back again? Did you forget something here?" Her gaze fell on a bag I was carrying, and she froze. I opened the takeout containers one by one, then deftly handed her the plastic utensils. "Order too much," I said. "Remembered you hadn't eaten either, so figure I'd come share with you." The TV was playing a dating reality show similar to The Bachelor. Noisy and boring, Chloe raised her soup bowl and clinked it against my beer can. "Mr. Miller," she smiled with crinkled eyes. "Happy New Year." I tapped her bowl and smiled back. "Happy New Year, Miss Chloe." That day, Chloe and I talked about everything under the sun until late into the night. Though Chloe was brimming with excitement. It was tea until the living room clock struck 3 after Chloe had yawned countless times. As she finally tilted her head and fell into a deep sleep, I carried her to bed and tucked her in. Yet lying on her sofa, I found myself sleepless, turning things over in my mind. I finally realized something was amiss. Chloe seemed to have an extraordinary level of trust in me, a stranger who had suddenly appeared in her life. I thought about Chloe's photo album, completely baffled by the origin of those group photos. Or had we actually known each other before, and I simply didn't remember. 6 when I woke up the next day, Chloe had already left for overtime work at her company again. Yet she didn't sleep until 3 a.m. I thought silently, what astonishing perseverance. A note was left on the coffee table. "Left breakfast for you. It's in a microwave." Clutching a disposable toothbrush between my teeth, I felt strangely moved. How could we be living like an old married couple when we only just met? As a new hire, Chloe was often exploited by her boss. The overtime kept dragging on, and it was almost 9 by the time I got home. I was worried that Guy in Black would harass Chloe again. I beat him up before she got off work. "Don't let me see you again, or I'll beat you every single time." I finished my threat with another smack to his head. "Did you hear me?" After dealing with the Guy in Black, I waited and waited, but Chloe never came off work. Glancing at the employee badge she left on the coffee table, I hailed a cab to her company's building. The moment I stepped out of the car, I saw a man tugging relentlessly at Chloe's sleeve. Chloe struggled to push back, her face flushing crimson. "Hey, you, what do you think you're doing?" Frowning, I shielded Chloe behind me. She said, "Don't touch her, can't you hear?" The man laughed heartily. "Come on, we're both men. Don't pretend you don't know how this works." It's just a game of playing hard to get. Chloe boldly peeked out from behind me. "Are you crazy? I told you I have a boyfriend." The guy sneered. "Were you trying to fool you? Said you had a boyfriend on your first day at work. Where is he? Haven't seen a single trace of him." Chloe took a deep breath, then she gave my shoulder a firm pat. "If you're not using your eyes, you could donate them to someone in need. Can't you see my boyfriend standing right in front of you?" 7 As soon as the man left, Chloe visibly relaxed. Sorry, thank you for getting me out of that awkward situation." She blinked at me and said, "How about I cook something delicious for you? Consider it my thank you gift, okay?" I never mentioned it, yet Chloe seemed to know my taste inside out. She even knew about my little quirk of not eating cilantro. I shamelessly mooched meals at her place for nearly half a month. In our free time, we binge-watched shows together, took walks, and chatted about everything under the sun. Chloe took several photos with me under the pretense of fooling around with colleagues. The days flowed by uneventfully until one day, while washing my coat, Chloe discovered the wedding ring in the pocket. "Leo," she said, holding up the ring with visible excitement. "So you're already married," she remarked. "I never thought to ask how old are you anyway." Traveling back 7 years, the reflection in the mirror had inexplicably become much younger. But faced with Chloe's expectant gaze, I found myself inexplicably telling the truth. "I'm 29, my wife passed away in a car accident." She froze for a moment, then suddenly lowered her head. "I see, I'm sorry." Chloe fell into a long silence. It wasn't until bedtime that she suddenly asked me, "Do you miss your wife very much?" I gazed at Chloe. After a long pause, I took a soft breath, of course. I deeply regretted not having met her sooner. Chloe lowered her head. "I feel uneasy in my heart. I keep thinking that if I fall asleep, I want to see you when I wake up." I chuckled helplessly. "How could that be? Didn't we agree I'd take you fishing tomorrow?" She suddenly buried her face in the blanket, her voice muffled. "Go now, I want to sleep. Good night, Leo." I turned off the light for her and replied softly, "Good night." Waking up from sleep, I had traveled through time. Again, staring at the school uniform I was wearing, I zoned out for a while. "Leo, you're awake. Those guys from class 2 came to provoke us again, just now saying they LLC us in the parking lot after school." I stared blankly at the time displayed on the classroom's electronic screen, lost in thought. This was me at 15 in my first year of high school. I realized I had probably stumbled into a parallel universe. Time traveling forward in 7-year increments. Wait, I reached into my pocket. The ring, where did that ring go? I frowned, thinking hard. Probably still sitting by the sink at Chloe's place. My deskmate poked me with a pen. "Leo, say something. Are we going or not?" I grabbed my backpack and rushed out. Chloe and I had always been in the same school, but different classes. There was a question that had puzzled me for a long time, and I wanted to ask her. After waiting outside class 10 for what felt like ages, I finally caught 15-year-old Chloe. Her hair tied in a high ponytail, her youthful features fresh and unguarded. "Chloe." I suddenly called out. "Long time. No." See, Chloe turned around in confusion, and when she saw me, clearly her eyes suddenly lit up. "It's you," she said with a gentle smile. "Long time no see, Leo." Chloe really did know me. No wonder the 22-year-old Chloe had been so completely unguarded around me. No wonder Chloe at 29 married me in a whirlwind romance just days after we met. So she had known me all along. My heart tightened at the realization. If 15-year-old Chloe also knew me, then this reverse time travel hadn't stopped yet. At this rate, I would travel back another 7 years and meet 8-year-old Chloe. I keep encountering younger versions of her, while she had always known exactly who I was. My heart gradually sank. The past, present, and future exist simultaneously. All events happen at the same time. The couple photos taken when 22-year-old Chloe dragged me to pose as her fake boyfriend were precisely what my 29-year-old self would later see. I was personally creating Chloe's and my past. Somehow, everything had already been predestined. After realizing this, I came down with a high fever. It was utterly absurd. Yet before I could rest for more than a few days, Mr. Harrison heard my fever had broken and dragged me back to class. Overcome with sorrow, I pleaded, "Mr. Harrison, I'm a time traveler. I scored 1550 on my SATs. I don't need to attend class." He gave a cold laugh. "What a coincidence. I particularly enjoy disciplining truant time travelers." He grabbed me by the collar and hauled me up. "Even if you scored 1600 on your SAT, don't even think about skipping class." Me ID just sat down while my deskmate sneakily leaned in again. "Leo, you know what? That girl from class 10 comes looking for you every day." I shot him a sidelong glance. What did she say? My deskmate grinned. "Nothing. She saw you weren't here and left right away." When Chloe appeared outside the window, peeking in again, I gently tapped her shoulder from behind. "I'm busy, don't bother me." She impatiently dodged to the side, her face nearly pressed against the glass. I chuckled lightly. "What's the matter? Tell me, maybe there's something I can help with." Visibly, Chloe's body stiffened. The next moment, she turned to look at me, her expression a mix of embarrassment and annoyance. "Leo, you scared me to death." She pursed her lips, then asked in a low voice, "I heard you were sick. How are you feeling now? Any better?" I nodded. "That's good. Get some rest." Chloe let out a sigh of relief, shoved a paper bag into my arms, then turned and ran. I looked down and opened it, then chuckled silently. Inside were homemade cookies, marshmallows, and nougat she made herself. For some reason, she also stuffed in several boxes of cold medicine. I suddenly felt that Chloe seemed so vividly alive at this moment. My wife is truly adorable. This realization startled even myself. After marriage, Chloe was always quiet, her eyes gentle, yet sorrowful, seemed to hold countless unspoken thoughts. I had always assumed she could never be described with adjectives like vividly alive or adorable. Little did I know I'd see her young face again. Suddenly, I remembered Chloe had once told me. Her adolescence had actually been very quiet, even marked by school bullying. She never made many friends and always envied others. Now that I've somehow returned to the past, could I also help her make up for those regrets? 10. Chloe didn't tell me much about the school bullying she endured. To understand what was really going on, I followed her secretly and walked her home. That day, Chloe got cornered by a group of delinquent girls. They surrounded her with cigarettes dangling from their mouths, grinning as they demanded money. Chloe's face turned pale, but she stubbornly refused. The leader of those delinquent girls glared and actually reached out to grab Chloe's hair. I couldn't stand by and watch, so I caught her hand midair. Get lost, the delinquent girl snapped in humiliated anger. Who the hell are you? I'll call my boyfriend to deal with you. I gave a cold laugh and dropped Mike's name, Mike from Northwood. Hi, ever heard of him? Mike had no interest in studying during his school days. All he cared about was fighting street, racing, drinking, and chasing girls. I just never expected his reputation to be so useful. The leader of the girl gang hesitated for a moment, then suddenly shoved a cigarette into my hand. Hey man, she said with an ingratiating smile, bowing slightly. Let me be your friend, you got my back right. I casually took the cigarette, my eye twitching slightly. The next moment, I saw Chloe turn away expressionlessly and walk off. Hey Chloe, I warned the delinquent girls before running after her. What's wrong? I asked cautiously, not understanding why she'd suddenly gotten angry. Chloe stared at the ground. Without speaking, I racked my brains for a long moment before suddenly realizing. Was it because I took her cigarette right? Leo, Chloe looked up at me, her eyes reddening. If you're gonna be friends with her, then give me back all my cookies, marshmallows, and nougat. She stared at the cigarette in my hand, her voice trembling with hurt. I don't want to like you anymore. Turns out she was just jealous. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry as I threw the cigarette into the trash right in front of her. I was wrong at 11. When Chloe found out I'd been following her, she didn't even get angry. After school, she simply walked home with me under the dim glow of streetlights. I walked side by side with her through the alley, stepping over a carpet of fallen leaves. It was late autumn. Many hot dog stands had appeared along the roadside. Chloe and I bought one hot dog to share at the alley's entrance. We finished eating just as we exited the alley. Then at the next intersection, we said our goodbyes. She went east, I went west. The next morning, we tacitly waited for each other there again to walk to school together. Chloe's life finally had me as a friend. Days passed like this one, after another that day. I just put down my backpack when my desk mate sneakily leaned in. Leo, are you? And Chloe, together my hand paused while searching for homework. After thinking seriously for a moment, I shook my head, not yet. Haven T confessed, yet my desk mate gave me a knowing look, winking at me with exaggerated significance. You can fool your buddies, but don't fool yourself. But Leo, you'd better be careful. I looked up in confusion, only to see him glance around before whispering in a low voice. Next month is our school's arts festival. Right there, this guy from class 10 who's going to sing a love duet with Chloe. How did you know? Look, the desk mate pointed at the podium. The registration form is right there. I picked up the form, the first line filled with the boy's neat handwriting. Love song duet by Ryan and Chloe from class 10 grade 1. 12. My desk mate cautiously glanced at me. Hey, what is wrong with you? I didn't speak. A nameless fury smoldered in my chest. Who the hell was this brat standing beside Chloe? I couldn't wait until school was over. The moment the bell rang, I dashed to the door of class 10. Chloe leaned forward slightly as she explained the problem to her desk mate. The boy leaned and closed his eyes, not on the draft paper, but nearly glued to Chloe's face. Just caught that. Guy red-handed, suppressing my simmering anger. I walked over to his desk just in time to hear him say, Chloe, tell me again. I didn't understand. Chloe frowned in confusion. Still don't get it. This is the third time I'm explaining. That wretched boy suddenly sprawled across the table, staring unblinkingly at Chloe with his eyes. Chloe, my dear desk mate, you're the best. You know, I've always been a bit slow since childhood, and everyone looked down on me. I couldn't take it anymore and grabbed him by the collar, lifting him up. The brat panicked. What are you doing? I sneered. Ryan, is it you really are stupid? Chloe couldn't hold back and burst out laughing. Ryan's face flushed a mottled red and green with shame and anger. No, who the hell are you? What is it to you? Mind your own business. Is Chloe your girlfriend? My blood boiled. She was still my wife. I suppressed my anger and mimicked his tone. Right, what has it got to do with me? I said, turning to Chloe and continuing in a soft, persistent tone. Chloe, sis, if I keep talking to you like this he get mad. I deliberately emphasized the word deskmate. Chloe stifled her laughter and waved her hands at me repeatedly. Not mad. Not ha 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 ha. She laughed so hard she doubled over, shaking the table. Ryan glared at me before running off, teeth clenched. I knocked on Chloe's desk. Chloe jumped, then snapped. What? You're going to sing a love duet with this idiot? Chloe looked bewildered. No, who said that? I murmured a quiet, oh, then added, never mind. I came to ask you one thing, Chloe. Would you like to sing with me at the arts festival? 13. After much deliberation, Chloe finally chose Taylor Swift's Love Story. Frowning, she crossed out her name next to Ryan's, muttering to herself. Let him sing alone. Then she neatly wrote Love Story by Chloe and Leo. I glanced over, feeling smug, and couldn't help running my mouth. Love Story, oh, Romeo and Juliet, huh? She looked up blankly. R&T we. My heart sank, and I quickly explained I was just joking. These days, whenever Chloe brings up the past, I laugh it off, afraid she might notice something amiss. Over time, as she gets no response, she gradually stops mentioning it. The truth is I want to know about those things more than anyone else. Chloe's past that has already happened is the future I have yet to experience. The past I knew so well was completely unfamiliar to Chloe. Suppressing my emotions, I changed the subject. How about I play guitar to accompany you? Chloe was indeed distracted, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Great, wonderful in the days that followed Chloe, and I would often skip club activities to meet in the music room. Chloe really loved this song. She kept singing it over and over. Romeo, take me somewhere we can be alone. I'll be waiting. All that's left to do is run. You'll be the prince, and I'll be the princess. It's a love story, baby. Just say yes. I plucked the guitar strings, suddenly feeling a bitter taste in my heart. Chloe, you know what? We ended up missing each other after all. Leo, did your string just snap suddenly? Chloe had somehow moved closer, reaching out to touch the suddenly snapped string. I looked at her eyelashes, so near they were almost touching me, and my heart skipped a beat. Leo, she didn't wait for my answer, turning her head in confusion. Her small upturned nose just barely grazed my lips. Sorry, what's wrong with you, Leo? Chloe was startled, staring at me, dumbfounded. Suppressing the emotions in my heart, I shook my head, just spaced out for a moment. Sorry. 14 on the day of the arts festival, the weather forecast said it would snow at night. This is the first snowfall of the year, and Oak Creek night has fallen with just 1 hour left until the performance. Inside the music classroom, I attune my strings. Chloe sits beside me, hands tucked in her sleeves, watching. Leo, she whispers mysteriously, leaning closer with lowered voice. Have you ever heard a secret? Would I play along, matching her hushed tone? No, please tell me quickly. Chloe whispered quickly in my ear, lovers who confess on the first snow day will stay together forever. After saying this, she blinked and waited for my reaction. My heart ached, as if pricked by tiny needles of sharp, lingering pain. Gritting my teeth, I forced a smile. I'll tell you a secret too. Want to hear it? Chloe's interest was instantly piqued. What is it? I whispered softly. I come from your future. Chloe propped her chin in her hand and thought for a long moment before suddenly raising a finger with a serious expression. One question. I suppressed a laugh. Go ahead. She asked in a hushed voice. Did we get married in the future? My breath caught for an instant, meeting Chloe's sparkling gaze. I forced a casual tone. Of course. Chloe suddenly covered her face and laughed. I have something important to tell you when I sing on stage tonight. You better be prepared. No backing out at the last minute. Looking at her crescent moon eyes, I felt my heart soften. Okay, 15-year-old Chloe went off alone to get her makeup done. The moment the music classroom door closed, a sharp pain suddenly shot through my heart. The guitar in my hands abruptly crashed to the floor. Stunned, I looked down to see my hands turning transparent, starting from the fingertips. I was disappearing just as Chloe came skipping back to find me. The music classroom held only a single guitar, lying fallen on the floor. She looked around blankly. Leo, no one answered. Chloe stood frozen for a long moment, then suddenly stumbled out in a daze. Mr. Harrison, have you seen Leo? Hello, have you seen? Until Chloe stood alone on stage. Her eyes were still searching for me in the crowd as the original instrumental began playing. Delicate snowflakes started falling from above. When she reached the line, it's a love story, baby, just say yes. Chloe suddenly looked upward, her voice catching for a moment. Glittering droplets rolled down her cheeks. It was impossible to tell whether they were snowflakes or tears. While chatting on the dating app, Chloe's words echoed in my ears once again. Like a whisper of fate, she said, there was someone I really liked. We prepared a performance together for the school arts festival. I was planning to confess to him after singing. At that moment, my gossip-loving soul burned with curiosity as I eagerly asked her. And then what? Chloe lowered her eyelids and gave a faint smile. I waited for him all night. He never came. Floating mid-air, I reached out in a daze, wanting to wipe away the teardrop on her cheek. But the snowflake passed right through my palm, drifting leisurely downward. The first snow had arrived. Our hair turned white from the storm, yet we never grew old together at last. I understood those tiny words Chloe later wrote behind our photograph. What a pity, Leo, we're going to miss each other again. What a twist of fate, lovers missed each other. What a pity, Chloe. 16 white light fell. Another 7 years had passed. I stood on the road staring at my own short limbs in a daze. Little brother, watch out. Suddenly, a small figure rushed toward me. I was knocked down and rolled twice on the ground. The next moment, the out-of-control vehicle roared past, narrowly grazing my back. Bang! The car crashed into a tree with a tremendous noise. The sound of shattering glass was sharp and piercing. The child in my arms, startled, trembling again. I saw that face clearly and cried out in shock. Chloe. 8-year-old Chloe looked up blankly, her hair sticking out in disarray. Hey, mister, do you know me? A little golden retriever came running across the street and affectionately nuzzled her hand. Chloe picked up the puppy, looking at me with wary eyes. Mister, I've been calling you from across the street for ages. You didn't hear me at all. You should be careful when crossing the road. How could you just stand in the middle of the street, spacing out like that? You were almost hit and sent flying. I lower my head and obediently let her scold me. Wait, Chloe suddenly remembered something and stumbled toward the wrecked car. Quick, call the police. The car was severely deformed in the crash, and the driver had died instantly. Broken glass and twisted metal littered the ground. I stared blankly at the large smear of bright red blood on the car's hood. I wasn't hurt, and neither was Chloe, so where did this blood come from? Before I could think further, the police had arrived at the scene and set up barricades. 17, you damn brat, running around like that. A woman suddenly emerged from the crowd, grabbing Chloe by the ear and twisting it hard. Chloe burst into loud sobs. Annie, I was wrong. The golden retriever puppy fell to the ground, biting my pant leg and dragging me toward Chloe. Crying, how dare you cry? You keep running out every day. You could die out there, and no one would know. I shielded Chloe behind me, trying to reason with the woman. Who would have thought she'd shift her gaze and redirect her anger at the golden retriever puppy instead? Running around every single day, this girl is becoming downright wild. The little golden retriever got scared and ran off with its tail between its legs, buddy. Chloe flailed about trying to catch it. The woman snorted with laughter and grabbed Chloe by the arm. Sorry for the show, neighbors. I'll take this girl home and teach her some proper manners. Chloe's tear-filled eyes gazed at me, her lashes fluttering as tears cascaded down her cheeks. My heart clenched. I nodded at her and stood up to chase after Buddy. I knew this golden retriever was the last keepsake Chloe's mother had left her. When I returned, carrying Buddy at 18, Chloe was standing by the door, serving her punishment. The alley was bustling with people, and every passerby seemed to be pointing fingers at her. Chloe clasped her hands behind her back, her head hanging even lower. I saw a crystal-clear tear hanging from her chin. Chloe, I called softly, but she remained motionless. I scratched Buddy under the chin, and he let out a whimper. Chloe suddenly looked up. Buddy kicked his hind legs and leaped into Chloe's arms. Chloe stroked his head, tears falling like broken strings of pearls. Buddy, I thought I'd never see you again. I crouched beside her and handed her a tissue. Chloe cried for a long time that day, until I felt a weight on my shoulder and realized she had closed her eyes without me noticing. I tucked Chloe in and was about to leave. Then I heard her whisper softly, thank you, big brother. 19, in the days that followed, whenever I had free time, I would rush out to find Chloe. Chloe was secretly grabbing candy from the gotcha machine outside the convenience store, while Buddy and I kept watch for her. The shop owner chased us down several streets with a broom, 2 humans, and 1 dog running for their lives. This city was our playground. We explored every nook and cranny. We watched countless sunsets together, playing from dawn till dusk. Chloe's smile gradually became more frequent. I thought life would continue like this. All past events were insignificant in this timeline. I would truly become her childhood sweetheart, growing up by her side. We would naturally come to know, stay with, and love each other. Unfortunately, heaven had other plans. That day, a group of police officers knocked on Chloe's door. But Chloe's stepmother drove them out. When I arrived, I saw her standing with arms akimbo, shouting, "Are you insane, cursing my Chloe to die? She's alive, and kicking you are the one who is dead." The police found the victim of that car accident. DNA results from the bloodstains on the car as hood showed the person was Chloe. But Chloe was completely unharmed, without even a scratch on her skin. The police saw Chloe alive and kicking with their own eyes, their faces filled with disbelief. Impossible with that amount of blood at the scene. Death was certain. How could this be? In that split second, I remembered another car accident. The car accident that took 29-year-old Chloe away, that ghostly car appearing and vanishing without a trace. My breath hitched. It felt like a thunderbolt had struck me. The deceased might truly have been Chloe. Correct, a faint, ethereal voice suddenly came from behind me. I turned around. A mysterious old man stood there, his expression filled with sorrow. Yes, Chloe at 29 died under the same car that 8-year-old you was saved from. Thus the loop of cause and effect is complete. He said time is not a line, but a circle. Past, present, and future exist simultaneously. All events are interconnected as cause and effect. A brilliant white light enveloped him. Where am I going? When Chloe was 1 year old. The old man shook his head. The cycle of cause and effect has closed. It's time for you to go back. I said in disbelief, go back? Where to? When you were 29. I suddenly became agitated. Go back? How can you expect me to go back? After all we've been through, how could I possibly endure losing her again in that long, empty lifetime? Missing each other twice, forgetting each other twice. I don't want this. I refuse to live this kind of life anymore. The puppy Buddy whimpered and tugged at my pant leg, trying to pull me back from the white light. I stared at the old man and said hoarsely, I want to see Chloe one more time. You said the past, present, and future exist simultaneously, and all I want is to visit just one fragment of time. You must have a way, I beg you. The old man lowered his eyelids. Causality closes here, young man. What you speak of exists outside this circle. Beyond causality, any stray branches will be erased. Young man, going means death. Meanwhile, the stepmother was again beating and scolding Chloe. Many adults gathered around, some mediating the quarrel, others just watching the spectacle. I could barely see her small figure in the crowd. It's all right, I said. I really wanted to see Chloe. I wanted to see Chloe happy and unburdened by me. The old man seemed to sigh just one day. I whispered softly, if only I could see her one more time. At 28 years old, I traveled forward again, the wind howled in my ears before stilling at the white light's edge. This was the year Chloe turned one. Her mother pushed the stroller out the door at a leisurely pace. A wagging golden retriever trotted alongside the stroller. At this moment, Chloe was the happiest little treasure in the world. I followed them all day long, experiencing online romance, marriage, and widowhood. At dusk, they went out to the park again. She spread a picnic blanket on the grass and brought Chloe out. I sat on a bench not far away, watching intently. I couldn't even bear to blink. 1-year-old Chloe was holding a long-eared rabbit in her hands. He actually stumbled his way over Big Brother. She tilted her head to look at me. Her voice was childish and babbling. Big Brother, crying tears kept flowing uncontrollably. Chloe, my voice was probably trembling. I reached out, wanting to hug her, but was stopped by Chloe's mother, who came chasing after. Chloe's mother gave me a wary glance and picked Chloe up. Chloe, let's go home with mommy. Chloe obediently raised her arms and wrapped them around her mother's neck. She happily repeated, go home, go home. The setting sun stretched their shadows long across the quiet, hushed twilight. Chloe suddenly turned around and waved her chubby little hand at me. Big Brother, she giggled. Big Brother, see you tomorrow. I forced the corners of my lips upward and smiled at her. See you tomorrow, Chloe. See you tomorrow, the end.